We'll be back from the break and you're still watching the Policon. Our last segment of the discussion here. Of course, Honorable Alan Atugonza, Member of Parliament Bulisa, who sits also the National Economy Committee in Parliament, and of course, big discussions on that committee that rotate around Uganda's economy, the budget, implementation, policies, and of course, ensuring that most of the money that is being released is making different changes, or is actually making the exact, or being used for the exact reason as to why it was asked for. Our discussion though is rotating around Uganda's experience with the public debt and economic growth. How is it affecting us? How has it affected the economic growth? Not only that though, how has it affected how business is being done in the country? Look at how the political sphere has been affected. This is actually putting many in the spotlight. By the look of things, at the start of 2023, we've got to see a number of ministers being put in the spotlight over different sagas. We had the Uganda Airlines by the end of the year, started off the year with the NSSF saga, we had the Iron Sheet saga, that one created chaos. Now you get to realize all that money, and when the country is accumulating more debts, you wonder where that money is going to do or what it is going to do, yet we are still accumulating loans for other things. Again, every time we accumulate a loan or every time we ask for a loan or we seek for a loan, whether from the domestic perspective or from the external side of it, from let's say the international donors, the IMF and all that, to give us credit facilities and everything, at times, when the money reaches the country, it is swindled. Corruption eating us up one way or the other. So this puts us in a big one, in a bigger question. My worry is, where is the red flag now? I think we are definitely into a space where we need to worry a lot. What are the implications that we are not looking at, but we are likely to face in the long run? With this increasing public debt that we are still failing to contain?
Thank you, Joram. I think the red flag and what we are not looking at is, over time, the economy will not be in a position to hold itself. Okay. And if we, again, consistently keep this situation whereby we can't finance our budget, it will obviously, because government has to operate. We need to provide a service. We need the defense, we need the health, we need roads, we'll be forced to go deeper and deeper into debt. Up to when we get back to our senses and then know if we are given money for the road, we should do the road of that quality that we need. We should do a road that will enable the economy to move. We should fund electricity and make sure that we encourage small-scale industries to crop up. These are the people who pay taxes. And when they pay taxes, they're in position to finance their budget. So up to when we get to that, to our senses. But in the long run, if we continue, I'm telling you, our problems are not too many. Our problems are just wastage and corruption, what you're talking about, swindling the money. If we address just those two, we're halfway done. Okay. In that we'll end up financing our budget, and we'll drastically reduce on the debt that we are currently grappling with.
And how does this level of public debt impact us on our relations with these external countries? You see, sometimes we are creating a bad image as a nation, and, because, for example, if you go for a loan from the European Union, you go for a loan from the United States, so IMF, you go to the World Bank for all these loans all the time, and then when it comes to servicing the loans or paying back the interest, we take time. We've heard of all these reports where a loan, where these countries or different financial institutions abroad just give us a go-ahead and they actually cancel the loan just because we've failed to meet it. There were claims a few a few months ago, that was last year, that the airport did not belong to us. And Ugandans went on social media and were asking themselves questions. So we've been getting loans from China, not knowing that the airport will soon come. We shall still lose the airport. However, the government was quick to come out and say all those were allegations. Now, just in case, if such situations happen, whereby someone who has given us a loan comes in and, for example, say, I'm taking over this building, I'm taking over the parliamentary building, now it is in my hands. Where does this leave our image as a country? Because how does it impact us with our external partners or our relations with the external countries?
Thank you very much. Sonko, I like the way you look at things in depth, and you have really moved around to really
to connect those, yes,
to assess the risk both from the community, from the local citizen up to the top and the country at large. Now, this really leaves us in a very awkward situation. You see, that's why sometimes these developed countries underlook us. It creates a slave master kind of arrangement. You know, all the time we are looking for money. All the time we are looking for money. We can't stand alone, and that creates that kind of superiority in them. And it creates that inferiority in us, in that we can't do it. It depicts that we can't do away with them. And this country is very rich. This continent is very rich. But because of poor governance, because of poor management, it is making us look like slaves in our own continent. Yes. And we have a lot of resources. If well managed, we would be the one giving them these loans.
Someone told me that 1970s, early 1970s, when the United Arab Emirates used to come here for loans.
For loans.
And now we go to them for loans and market.
Why? It is because we are mismanaging ourselves. There are things we are not doing right. That's a fact. So having said the master-slave relationship, that's why you see we even fear. You feel something is not right. As Parliament, we have come up with an homosexuality bill, but people saying, you see, you will not manage. Where will you get the money?
Because we've already created that image that we have to beg for money everywhere.
We can't manage ourselves. We can't sustain ourselves. And every time we are continuing to put a rope around our neck, we are continuing to dig our hole deeper. In terms of debt, we are not failing to say, look, enough is enough. Can we operate within our envelope? And if we are to do that, what should we do? There are a few things we need to do. Just judiciary, strengthen judiciary in terms of corruption-free judiciary, strengthen police, enforcers, come to Parliament, strengthen Parliament, let the three arms of Parliament work independently with all the authority, let the law bite. Go to the wasteful expenditures, strike them off completely, and we will be in a position to fund our budget. This slave master thing will go away. Two, if we fail to service our loan, you said, of course now these people, World Bank, IMF, they created something called rating. Are you a class country? Are you? Yes.
Depends on how you manage your finances or how you manage your economy.
They just look at you.
And
he looks at you.
And it's like
if you are paying back, if you are servicing your loan, and if you are A+. If you are not, so you find in these countries you mentioned, Zambia, Ghana, they found themselves in a very tricky position that they couldn't service their loan.
And actually they've applied, and the IMF is still reluctant to bail them out.
Yes, it is caused by now they are just watching them make their mistakes. These guys are looking at them.
They're still
and some of them is because of their policies. Like the policies, the policy they brought in this country, privatize. Then we realized later that this was a mistake. We are giving out a national resource to people. Then we are paying more to finance our budget because we want to use the same resource. And look, I've liked the Kenyan model, which is looking at running a country as a business. And this is what they have been doing them in what Western world. Rwanda is doing the same. You know, like if a doctor is not on his desk, Twitter, you know, a minister gets to know
where is he?
That is get toward production. You find the economy is moving. Look, what stops us from having a 24-hour economy in this country? To create employment. Why don't we work in shifts? Why? You know, people, you move around, you find people sleeping just at 11 and what? The economy is sleeping. Go to other countries whereby the economy is 24. At night you wake up, you find people. Go to Egypt. Day and night they are working. You wake up at 4, you start checking. You have to check on your watch in order to tell what time it is. So these are things we should look at as a country in order, if we want to get out of these traps. The same with Saudi Arabia. Now, those people who used to come here and borrow, now they have realized something. They don't want the economies to sleep. Now it's us going to them. It shows how hard work. They are mindful of their GDP. They are producing and buying themselves. They are providing market for themselves. You know, this is the way to go. They are working on corruption in that every cent is accounted for. They don't do roads today. And in 1 year, you are putting more money on those roads because you chewed the road. Yes.
So, all right. Also, I needed to know something here. Did note something down here regarding any potential policy recommendations for Uganda to manage its public debt and at least create a sustainable economy in the long term. Are there some policies that now we really need to look at focusing? If we are to focus on, let's say, budget cuts, should it be the way to go in the next 3-4 years, or should we try to look out for other measures?
No, you see, like those policies, like maybe budget cuts, they are not also sustainable. Some of these, what we call non-productive, sometimes they are also important. They enable us. And when they enable, like for example, if, I'll use our case, if a member of parliament is going to represent a country, Uganda, in an international forum, where policy, where regulatory frameworks for the, you know, now we are operating in regions, we are operating in continental bodies, you know, you can't say flatly that no travel abroad. You will miss out. You will miss out. You need to be represented. You need our voice. We need our voice to be heard globally. So at the end of the day, we just need to, we do it, but we don't need to overdo it. Again, it will have its own ugly effect on us if we overdo it. So the fact is, they are well emulated policies, research-based, scientific, which are being used by other countries. We don't need to struggle. Other countries have been, we are not the first one. We have been in debt, they have been in debt before, and they have taken specific measures in order to come out of debt. We can do the same. We don't need to struggle. And we know our problem. We know our problem. Me, I'm on the Committee of National Economy. I'm on a Committee of Foreign Affairs. Even me, I can tell you what we need to do. And if we do it, trust me, we'll get out of this quagmire. The problem is the willingness. The problem is the maybe corruption which has entrenched itself everywhere. Now you hear people saying mafias. I think mafias is a cartel, conglomerate of people who are coordinated in different sectors in order to frustrate, to achieve, in that you stop him here, he'll catch you there. You go with a thief in court, a corrupt person, you come out with him. He goes home to sleep in his bed. And that is not right. I was, to say this, I was with one of the members of parliament yesterday as we were coming from an oversight visit. Yes. And the man said, no. If it were me, these people, we just need a prison on the water.
Okay.
for only the corrupt.
Only the corrupt people.
Yes,
So that they have no way to run.
No, even by if a cow, if a commercial officer, if a CDO, he has of a prison on the water somewhere in Kalangala,
Yes.
there are no people, it's just prison. You will not meet your people. I think that will bring some fear. He will do the right thing, and when he does the right thing, it's our people to benefit, the economy to benefit. That's where we need to go. We just need to bite. Yeah.
Okay, and of course, speaking of biting and everything, I want us to look deeply in also trying to understand the budget cuts here.
Yes.
The issue to do with the budget cuts. One is, of course, there were some sectors that you realize that maybe, for example, some of the expenses, vehicles every year, every financial year, and of course, tours and all those. They were all, those are not going to be considered in the next financial year. I want to believe this is more like a physical study to see if we are going, it's just like we are trying to see whether this can work for us in one way.
You see, this would work. Me and you, we know it would work. Tell me, why do I'm a member of parliament, I'm driving a car which is 10 years plus old, and I'm comfortable. We have been driving them in this country. Yes. But we have a policy in government that you have to drive a car for 5 years. They don't even allow it to last 5 years. Because he has intentions to buy it, to sell it to himself. And he takes to the garage and pours some oil, say this car is bad luck, we need to dispose it. You know, that kind of unpatriotic,
and selfish nature that we have
is having a toll on our economy. In that a very brand new car is nowhere to serve. Then you find a doctor will not move to go and carry out education. It's
to do his duties as a doctor.
Immunization, because they don't have transport. And to make matters worse, if they now need to travel, they hire at exorbitant rates. They hire from themselves. So it is more profitable for him not to have a kind of ministry, knowing he has a company he has created in order to swindle government. So these are things which don't need us to struggle, which doesn't need a CID officer to have gone to this, the one Scotland Yard. You can just add punch dots and get to know this is the problem. And with this car, no one follows government assets. They are the mercy of a PS. A PS doesn't know how many vehicles they have. You know, but for him, when budget comes that we need more vehicles, these ones are 5 years old. 5 years old in which condition? They still spare from these government vehicles to make them look old. You know, a driver is tired of driving a car, he has seen a new brand has come in, he makes sure that this one always registers mechanical problems.
All the time, so that they get a new brand coming in.
If the PS gets to know this is his car for 10 years, if it gets problem, he will have to pay.
But the mere fact that there is an availability or there is an option,
there is
government
a policy which favors you, you know, they remove a tire from a government vehicle, put on private, then they come to requisition of a tire, decide. So this is how far we have gone as a country in terms of the moral decadence, yes, and integrity issues. And these are what we would call small but big issues to handle, to save our economy.
All right. Now, Honorable, as we are summing up, just for the viewers to briefly know our current public debt, just briefly from the committee's kind of perspective, from the figures there, I would wish you to at least give for them a picture where we are currently standing with the public debt, the domestic debt, and also what it means. Or you as well try to create, to show us the ratio at which we are, or the percentage that we are almost hitting.
Thank you, John. As I said, our public debt is 78 trillion. Okay. Out of that, 29.5, which is round of 30 trillion, is domestic debt. So we have external debt at 49 trillion. And that external debt also has its own branches. I don't think we have the time to go through that. But again, you need to relate that with our annual budget, which is 49.9 trillion, and our debt service of 17 trillion.
Yes.
Now, remember we still have 78 trillion. Out of that 78, yes, we are paying off 17 trillion. But again, with this budget we are going for, given that it's also paying servicing a debt,
so
we don't have capacity to finance it. We don't have capacity to finance it. We are going to look for a loan again.
To add on another.
Which will add on our portfolio, loan portfolio. Now, next year we are going to tell you how much we may hit 80 or 75 trillion with our debt of this, debt service of this. So that recurrentness of our debt situation, yes, is what we need to address. But sustainably, like as I told you, we are good at solvency if we address these risks. Solvency and liquidity. Best, we are targeting the oil, yes, we are targeting our coffee. We have been selling coffee. We have been getting lots of money from coffee. So these are things we need to work on. And it's not yet very bad, but we are heading there.
Okay. Honorable, lastly, as we are summing up on our conversation, yes, your last words, your final remarks, one to the people of Bulisa, yes, and of course to the Ugandans out there, especially the business community that are worried about this public debt. Thank you. To my people of Bulisa, I want to thank them for watching Smart 24 TV and to keep on following it and to really encourage them to join the productive sector, to join the money economy, so that we can be in position to add on, to participate in our economy and to grow our GDP. To Ugandans still, I would also give the same message, but again, request them to bear with us. We are steadfast. We as leaders, we know what we are supposed to do. And all these policies that are coming up are geared towards bettering our country, bettering our economy. We will just keep on doing the best thing in order to make sure we don't compete for the funds in the market like for the private sector with the private sector. We have been so strict in terms of where are we getting our loans, concession or domestic or commercial loan. Is it domestic or what? And we do that in order to cushion our private sector so that they don't start competing with the government. So I think we can conclude here. I wish you all the best. Yeah, we are going to be producing oil to cushion you more from Bulisa. All right, thank you very much. Yes. And of course, that is Member of Parliament Bulisa, Honorable Alan Tugonza, who also sits on the National Economic Committee, also on the Committee of Foreign Affairs. So you get to realize that at least everything that we have touched here and there, one inclusive of the public debt and also the external funders of this particular external debt that we go for, of course, in one word, you realize it affects us, it affects the economy, and of course, the inflation and the issues to do with the private sector who are really worried and on pressure due to this same matter. So we were looking at Uganda's experience with the public debt and economic growth, and of course, trying to understand how this is impacting on the policies and the economy at large. I'm Joram Paul Sonko. You've been watching the Policon. That is where we discuss politics and economics. This is Smart 24 TV, channel 394 on Go TV, channel 372 on DSTV. We are also on free to air, as you can definitely get to watch and view your business updates. And of course, that is real time and different interviews regarding matters to do with business, both local and international. Till next time, bye-bye.